Darts originally was because my granddad played when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, no problem. He said his name's Ashley, so I got no idea who's turning up. This is proper messing me up now. I struggle when people leave me negative comments, but I don't know how he does it. He's just chill, isn't he? I was gaining like 10,000 subs a month in lockdown. Like since I've swapped left-handed, I've really enjoyed playing a lot more. Because the reason I started the channel was because that's what I wanted to do. I would like to realistically go to Q school and compete. Sorry guys.
Oh, hello mate. This is for you on behalf of us.
Oh, brilliant.
For your darts board, just to say thank you for letting us come in. Hello.
This is Bella.
Hello,
we
Bella.
Got, a week ago today.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah. Ash has already made himself comfortable.
Hello mate.
Hello.
How are you?
Surprise. Long time no see.
How are you? Cool, can I mic you up please mate?
Yeah, no probs.
Welcome back to On the Oche. Today we are with the darts referee, Jack Langston. We're also joined by Ashley Coleman in the corner, but today this episode will focus mainly on Jack and his progression through darts to becoming the most subscribed English-speaking darts YouTuber. So Jack, take us away. We're going to be doing a lot of darts in between this and just talking about your career in general and how you've got to where you are today.
Darts originally was because my granddad played when I was a kid. So because he played quite a lot, I was just around darts. So my earliest memory of anything is watching darts in my granddad's living room. Yeah. And I remember specifically that was Dennis Priestley was on TV.
Okay.
So I just kind of played darts from a really young age, really.
Were you a handy player at all? Obviously people know that now you're quite a handy player, but back in, say, your prime?
Yeah, I was all right. I was like 72 average, that sort of player. I would beat players who aren't as good as me, and I would always lose to players who were better than me. So I was kind of like maybe slightly above average.
How did you then take the turn from going to someone who was just interested in darts and potentially playing at pubs and stuff like that to getting into the refereeing side of it?
Well, I think really it comes down to the fact that I wasn't that great, and because I started playing at such a young age, I used to play on a Sunday. Used to go to this members club with these two blokes. They're both like late 70s now. Yeah. So they probably would have been like mid 50s back then. Yeah. I used to just go to this pub with them. They had to sign me in because it was like members club only. Yeah. And we just played winner stays on, and they were both like good county players. So it was winner stays on, loser chalks. So from like 9 years old, I was pretty much chalking every other game for like 4 hours at a time. Yeah. So I think that is why I got good at the math side of things so quick. Yeah. And then, I've always been decent at it, and it got to the point where there was an exhibition in Lakenheath, which is about half an hour away from here. Yeah. And it was a Steve Beaton one, and I was 17, just learnt to drive, and I'd never been to a darts exhibition. Yeah. And I spoke to the guy running it, and I was like, look, would it be all right if I come? Would I be able to like do the scoring for you? Which is like outrageous for someone to want to voluntarily do the scoring. But he was like, yeah, no problem. So I did that, and I spoke to Steve, and I was like, can you put me in touch with anyone? And he gave me a name of a guy who was sort of like running the marking scheme back then. This is like 2011, 2012. Yeah. And got in contact with that guy. There's a guy called Dave, and he let me come and mark, and that was it. I was hooked.
People probably know from your channel crazy stories of you with like Adrian Lewis and so on and so forth, but when did it take a step up where you were marking big games with big players? Was that straight away, or did it take some time?
Well, so I started marking on the Pro Tour, and it was a lot of you'd get assigned your boards. I mean, back then there were like 16 dart boards, but I think there are only about 7 markers. Yeah. So more than half the boards were still like self-marked boards. Yeah. So the voluntary marking group, there's like 7 or 8 of us. We just got assigned a board. It started off, I'd shared a board with someone just to make sure that I wasn't like completely rubbish. Yeah. And then after that they were like, yeah, he's fine, he can score. Yeah. And then I started marking the Pro Tours. So you'd get like the odd decent board on your like to chalk and stuff. Yeah. And you might mark for Adrian Lewis one week, and then the next week you might get James Wade or something. And you'd normally get like 1 or 2 decent names on your board. Yeah. And then it was about 2 years I was marking until I did my first final.
Yeah.
And then that was about it really. I sort of like after that I was very much the majority of the finals I was chalking.
Yeah.
Big games, yeah. And then when they brought in the stream boards, I was always on one of the two then stream boards.
Yeah. Are there any games that stand out to you? Because obviously it sounds like you've done absolutely loads of them. I know you made a few videos on them. I've obviously seen them myself. But if you could pick 3 games, your 3 favourite games, or maybe even most controversial, the 3 what stand out to you the most?
I think we'll leave the controversial ones. So I don't want to like get anyone in any trouble. The one that stands out to me the most was a Ian White versus Van Gerwen game.
Yeah.
I think it was like quarterfinals or something in Barnsley, and Van Gerwen's first 3 legs were 9-11-11, I think.
Jesus, yeah.
And he ended up winning the game 6-3, and Ian White didn't miss, but he just got beat. But yeah, Van Gerwen went 9 darter first leg, second leg he went 7 in, missed the treble 19. So I was like, oh, we're going to get back-to-back 9 darters, like never happened, and I thought I was going to be the one to chalk it.
Yeah, because that must play a major part, knowing that obviously after the first 9 darter, you know you're part of some sort of history, but then obviously once he starts going into the next one, I can imagine you start thinking about it quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Because some of the markers, they kind of like, they just got lucky with 9 darters.
Yeah.
Like some of the markers, there's one guy called AD, I don't know if you've ever heard.
Mason. Yeah.
So it took him about 8 years, I think, to get his first ever 9 darter. But then there are other markers who'd marked like 7 of them.
Yeah.
I managed to get 4. 2 Van Gerwens, one Chizzy and Johnny Haynes were my 2 9 darters, 4 9 darters. But yeah, it was good though. I did enjoy it. It was fun.
So then obviously you go from that to more of a social media side. Was that a straight swap? Did you go straight from chalking to immediately going into social media, or was there something in between? What kind of made you go over?
So I used to make Call of Duty and Fortnite content.
Yeah.
So I used to do that, and like I'd get like maybe like 50 views on a video, and that's sort of like where I got the interest of doing YouTube.
Yeah.
So I was always like quite good at the editing side of things, and like putting videos together and using like audio equipment and camera equipment, like to an extent, like not like amazing, but okay. And so I did that for a few years, got bored of that, and then so I stopped marking in, I think it was 2000 January, I think 2018 was when I stopped marking. And I remember because it was that year that the UK Open got snowed in.
Yeah.
It was that year I stopped marking around that time, and then it wasn't until November 2019 that I started the Darts Referee YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it was like good like 18 or so months in between, but I was kind of like, I bought that computer down there. That's my old computer. I bought that. I spent loads of money on a computer just to play Fortnite, and I kind of thought like I need to use it for something else.
Yeah.
Like I need to do another YouTube channel. So I was kind of like deciding whether I'd go back to gaming or I'd do something completely new. And the only other thing I knew really well was darts. But back then, I think the most subscribed channel in darts was about 6,000 subscribers. So I thought like the limit is 10k.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to get more than 10k. And 77 now, so
it's not bad.
We're getting there, yeah. Not bad at all.
You're actually not the only person to go from Fortnite to darts, funnily enough. I don't know if you know, but Alex Spellman was actually a developer on Fortnite, weirdly enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what he did before he threw darts. He developed Fortnite, which is quite crazy.
Oh, fair.
But obviously, like you said, the YouTube channel is going very successfully. I believe it was fairly recent that you took the plunge to do it as your full-time job, was it? Yeah,
so I had a really good year. I've always been interested in the YouTube analytics and like how things work and how algorithms work. And I just kind of like, I found something at the start of this year which made me do better than I normally would.
Yeah.
And then I had like 4 really good months doing both jobs, tree surgery and YouTube.
Yeah.
And then we had a baby. So I had 2 weeks off work to sort of like get to grips with that. Made content while sort of like in between feeds and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it got to the end of the 2 weeks and I was like, well, I'm self-employed in both jobs.
Yeah.
So I'm not like letting anyone down massively. And I kind of just thought I can either go back to trees and do do everything part-time, or I'm doing well, just go for it. Like, you're not going to get many opportunities to just go for something like that.
Yeah.
I just thought, try it, and we're doing all right. Luna, come over, Ash.
I mean, obviously, I think during that period, what you described in there, I believe there was a period where you lost, was it stream monetization or something along those lines? How was that? Because obviously, everything's going really well for you and you're planning for the future, and then all of a sudden, something like quite major happens where you're not actually sure if you'll ever get the monetization back and stuff like that, because it's a scary world in that regard. It's not just someone you can straight up talk to, is there? You have to go through a lot of processes to try and get your account back and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so that was day 2 of the World Championships just gone. I've always done streams, watch-alongs for the Worlds, and it was day 2, and I was kind of like thinking, this is proper messing me up now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I should go back to work and stuff and whatever. So I was demonetized for whatever reason. I still don't know why. They asked me to make an appeal video, but the thing is I woke up at like 7 in the morning to this email saying your channel's been demonetized. You're out of the partner program, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you just panic.
Yeah.
So they asked me to do this video, so I had to like prove that my content was my content and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like 7 in the morning. I'm using like a camera that's like plugged into the wall to try and film this thing to upload it. I'm like proper panicking as well, and I definitely didn't make a very good account of myself on this appeal video.
Yeah.
And anyway, they rejected it, so I'm kind of like, right, well, I can reapply for monetization in about March.
Yeah.
Like, is that what I'm gonna have to do? But then, yeah, I put out a few tweets and stuff, saying like what happened and blah blah blah. And then it's actually Jackmate. He tweeted YouTube, and they kind of like got on the back of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Looked into it, and then within about 2 days they reversed their decision. So
Yeah.
yeah, I owe Jackmate one. I definitely owe him a beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was very stressful, which is mental considering I nearly quit YouTube in December and I went full-time in April.
At what point did the YouTube start to pick up for you on the social media side?
Well, to be fair, it was very good timing when I created the channel. So that was November 2019. I managed to get monetized by about the end of December.
Yeah.
And then lockdown happened in whenever that was. So I went from like a channel getting 100 views a video to lockdown happened. So now I'm getting like 20,000 views a video. Yeah. And I was gaining like 10,000 subs a month in lockdown.
That's obviously exploded.
Like, yeah, it just went
lockdown.
mental. Like the timing was just perfect because no one had anything to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, the timing was really good. So that was like my lockdown routine was get up, make a video, and then edit it, post it, and then that take me to like midday, and that was what I did for the first half of my day, every day in lockdown. So I got a video a day up, all like random weird things like I made darts out of crayons, like all that like that sort of stuff, and yeah, it kind of took off there. I made a video as well during lockdown, which was I practiced like a pro for 30 days. I hadn't played darts for probably about 2 years.
Okay.
Before then, because I just weren't that interested in playing darts.
Yeah.
And I made this video, and I spent, because I had so much time, I spent like 3 to 4 hours a day practicing, and I sort of like for 30 days, and I just documented most of it, kind of. I did it all on the Scolia as well, so I had all like the stats and stuff, which was like really cool. Documented it, and then I did like a first day versus day 30. Best of 7, and then just showed the averages, and I went from like 44 average to like 72 or something in a month. Obviously that was just because I'd played a lot when I was younger. But yeah, that's on nearly 600,000 views, I think. And that went like mental during the lockdown, so I would probably put it down to that video.
A lot of people will know yourself and vice versa, Ash, from your videos. So how did that come about? How did Ash start being a part of the streams and the videos?
So I've known Ash probably getting on for about 10 years now. I've always liked being a captain of a team, like in the leagues around here. That's kind of like I've never really played a lot, but I've always I don't mind doing the boring stuff.
The
bloke who I played darts with when I was a kid, who used to just beat me all the time.
Yeah.
I used to chalk. He runs the league on a Friday.
Okay.
And he runs it with Ash's granddad.
Oh, okay.
So I was looking for a couple of new players, and then he came up to me and was like, "Look, Ken's grandson lives like not far away. He wants to play on a Friday. Do you want him to come play for you?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, no problem." He said his name's Ashley, so I got no idea who's turning up.
Yeah.
And anyway, so yeah, Friday come round and Ash turned up, and I was like, "Oh, Ashley Coleman, like I recognise your name from like youth tournaments and stuff and like county youth." I was like, "Oh, actually, I think he's quite good as well." So that'll do us a favour to have him playing.
Yeah.
So he played for us for a few years, and then maybe like 3 or 4 years later, lockdown happened again. Well, not again, but the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And then when it come back, I was trying to think of things that we could do. I was doing versus subs myself during the lockdown and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I kind of thought, but like it's good, but I'd rather someone be really good.
Yeah.
And like just batter everyone, and then that way I can do all the controls and I can do like the producing of it. And that's just how it started. So Ash come one week, beat everyone, and we've been doing it pretty much ever since.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you've had a lot of iconic moments, the 9 data being one of them. How much has having Ash part of the team essentially helped you create content?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the thing about Ash is when you've got someone who's capable of just doing them like special things in darts. Like I could stand here for 10 years, I probably won't hit 9 darts.
Yeah.
I probably won't hit 9 darts in a row.
Yeah.
But Ash has got that capability to do things like that. So when Ash is playing like 8, 9, 10 games on a Wednesday night, if he does one game, even if it's only 1 out of the 10, that's like 104 average or something.
Yeah.
That's a video.
100%.
Or like we've had it a few times. A lot of like the Scotland youth players, they all come and play.
Yeah.
And like Owen Bryceland averaged like 90 at 9 years old against Ash and beat him.
Yeah.
And then like Carl Davidson is another one. He beat Ash as well in another game. And then we had what was his name? The other one. Mitchell Lawry. Yeah. Mitchell Lawry come and he's 14 or 15. He had 102 average against Ash.
Jesus.
And then one weekend at JGC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like so like Sports Bible and things picked up on that.
Yes.
And they made articles about it and everything. So yeah, it's just like if there's a video to be made out of a stream, then it's a free video really.
There's only one video that everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Away from the YouTube thing, and it's when I was playing with my friend. This is quite funny. One of my friends come onto the stream to play me.
Okay.
Ricky. And we were in a game. I'd left 18. He was sitting on 196. So he hit a 180.
Yeah.
Cracking up. He threw a sign up.
Oh, did he?
180 sign. But I thought, right, you cheeky person, I'm going to do a different way. And at the time, Jose de Souza had just done 3 double tops, so I did 3 double threes, and that went nuts. I think that actually got just as many views. It actually got more views than the 9 data.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And people are like, the 3 double threes is better than the 9 data. I'm like, what? 9 data's like once in 9 pro. The 3 double three, I can do it anytime.
Yeah.
People still ask me, like, I've gone to my local shops and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, are you the guy who hit 3 double threes after someone hit a 180? Yeah.
Well, that brings me on to the next segment. The flip side of it is, how much do you think you potentially have helped Ash's career by getting him exposure? Because obviously you went on to be invited to the MODUS Super Series. Obviously you qualified yourself for the UK Open, but we did an interview when you were at the Super Series, Ash, and you were probably the most requested player, which obviously is crazy when you think about, the amount of crazy players we have there.
I'm just a guy who played on Wednesday night against people.
Yeah,
and I didn't do it for the exposure as much as the enjoyment.
Yeah.
Because it got me into a practice session as such once a week. And that once a week practice session wasn't a lot to a lot of people, but for me, I throw all the bugs out of my game,
Yeah.
and it's picked me up. And also, if it weren't for the YouTube and that, I wouldn't have ever faced Q School.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have played darts to the level I'm playing now. So the exposure got me sponsorships, and it made me become a bigger fish in the big pond of darts, where people actually recognise me, and people are scared to play me sometimes in these locals now because they know my ability, because I've shown it. Where before, people knew I was good, but they didn't think I was that good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I must admit, we've had a lot of, but he did it in your bedrooms.
Yeah,
a lot of those.
When you guys invited me to Series 7 Week 5.
Yeah.
And I had that game against Greg Ritchie.
Yes.
104 average in 7 minutes.
Yes.
And people were like, now we know it's legit. It's not just in Jack's bedroom.
Yeah.
He's a serious dart player that can do it.
I mean, it must have made you feel very proud, Jack, obviously, to see Ash on the Super Series and the UK Open as well, knowing that obviously you did play a part in it. You know what I mean? I don't know how much you're like willing to say you did, but obviously you did play a big part in it. Ash's ability plays a major part, but obviously you giving him the exposure also plays a major part, because there's a lot of good dart players around. But you must have felt very proud to see him on there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, when he was first off was the Q School. We did a massive watch along for him. It was basically for Ash, to be honest. Like I'd have done it anyway because I do them every year. But this year it was like it's Ash's Q School this year. So obviously, from everyone who's watched his videos and watched the streams and stuff, a lot of people had a lot more interest in seeing how Ash got on. Obviously, there are a lot of people who just kind of like wanted to see him fail as well. Which was very apparent sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if he'd lose a game, like I tell you what, I struggle when people leave me negative comments.
Yeah.
But I don't know how he does it. He's just chill, isn't he? He's just so chill.
I've actually received a few death threats after Modus.
Jesus, yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? If you're that worried about me, then your life's a real disaster.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, at the end of the day, there's so many good dart players in the world that don't get the credit they deserve. They just get abused.
Yeah.
And it's become more apparent in the last few years. But I think that I'm one of these people that I got picked on when I was younger. You trying to pick on me now, it's a feather trying to brush against the wall. It ain't going to do nothing.
Whenever he did the Super Series the first time, that was like the big, can he do it? Like, I was just watching, like, I was sat down here watching it on this TV, just like thinking, please, just throw well, throw like you can, and then no one can come in my stream next Wednesday and say, oh, you're rubbish, you can't play, you just do this and that, whatever. But so yeah, thankfully Ash played pretty well, and all good.
Both times I've been there, I've been 2 points short.
Yeah.
Both Saturday.
Especially the first time. I mean, we'll speak about it more when you two are up here together. But the first time you were, very, very unlucky not to make it Saturday. But saying that, you have actually played in front of a sellout crowd at the Super Series, as have you, Jack, because you both played at the MODUS Super Series Influencer charity event. Tell me how that was for you both.
For me, no, it was good. It was good. I must admit, I feel like when I was playing, I felt like when I was playing, so I'd only been playing left-handed for like 3 months.
Yeah.
I just swapped hands. I used to play like county youth and stuff when I was a kid, so I played in front of a few crowds, but I was always like super nervous.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to feel either, because that's the other thing is like, if I throw my first 3 darts and they're dreadful and I get nervous in the first 3, then the whole game's gone.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, just don't miss the board. Just like throw them in the general direction. If you can hit 45 every 3 darts, that is plenty good enough. That's not embarrassing. That's not rubbish. I mean, it's not great, but it's better than like throwing one off the board, then a big 9, and then like flicking one into 13 or something.
Yeah.
So it was very much for me. It was like, just throw them and try not to think about like where you are and what's going on. But yeah, I thought I held my nerve really well. To be fair,
100%.
I sort of come away from that really happy. Obviously, I played darts instead of like I played the entertainer thing.
Yeah.
Which to me, like, if you were to see me hit a 9 darter at a tournament, which probably won't ever happen, you wouldn't have a clue I've just hit one.
Yeah.
Because I'm just, whenever I play, I'm just like, I just don't do anything. I just try and focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like how my super influencer week went.
Yeah.
Trouble, I think also, we were messing about too much in the practice room. We wasn't taking it serious enough until we went up there, and then we kind of went up there and went, oh, we got to actually play darts now. But it wasn't about the darts. It was about raising good money for a good cause.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it must be cool for you, Jack, as well, being in the scene so early to see events like this like become an actual thing. Because I mean, even yourself, it wasn't an influencer event, but you put on your own event, didn't you? Which was a Darts Referee Open. So it must be cool to see the progression of darts and social media.
Do I tell the story?
I'm sure you're going to.
I did something quite crazy. I was at MODUS the week of his tournament. I played my Group B game against Scott Taylor, last game, about 1 in the morning. I drove from Portsmouth to Haverhill, slept 2 hours, and then drove to Stollen Barnes to play in his tournament to make sure I was there.
How was it for you, Jack, to have an event like that? And like I said, to see the progression of dart social media?
Yeah, I mean, my tournament, that's the third one I've done now. I've done 3 of them. First 2 were 80 mans, and the last one was 160. Yeah, it's really cool because you get to see loads of different people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like the weird thing is because you're so used to like usernames and not faces.
Yeah.
Like you see all these people, you don't know who anyone is, but then they come and say, "Oh hi, I'm so and so."
Yeah.
Oh, I know who you are. So yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, and then all like the influencer stuff that's going on at the moment. It's just good for darts. I mean, not everyone thinks it is, but
no, they were very vocal about it actually.
No, but I think it is. It's like it doesn't hurt anyone.
Exactly.
If Pieface plays darts and 100 kids who love Pieface go, I'm going to get a dartboard, then brilliant.
Yeah. It must be cool when you look at like other sports, for example, football being the biggest one. You see a lot of football influencers and so on and so forth get a lot of opportunities. And maybe that's something what hasn't really been a part of the darts community for a long, long time. But I think maybe since Luke Littler came in, to be honest, you see people getting opportunities within the game a lot more now, obviously. We saw a couple reaches in from the PDC with Jackmate and Pieface, but it was kind of once a year and that was kind of it. But now, obviously, with the Super Series, with other companies going on to make their own events and so on and so forth, it's definitely the biggest dart social media's ever been.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, like I said, when I started, I thought the cap was 10,000 like subscribers. The most subscribed channel had 6,000 when I started, and like there's loads of channels now who are like over 20k. So yeah, it's going in the right direction. 100k though is coming.
Yeah.
got to get the 100k. I've got space for the plaque in between my Jackmate poster and my Andrew Gilding poster. That's where it's going to go.
Esteemed company. What are your ambitions going forward, Jack? What would you like to do both as an individual but also in the YouTube scene and the dart scene?
So the YouTube side of things, I just want to keep making unique content that other people aren't doing and just kind of like just come up with good ideas and just keep growing it and growing it.
Yeah.
On like more of a personal level, like since I've swapped left-handed, I've really enjoyed playing a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get to a position where I'm like beating some players now.
Yeah.
And the standard around here is pretty good as well. So like I'm beating more people 6 months into left-handed than I did playing right-handed.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. I've got my new darts are coming out at some point, so I'd love to be able to like bring out like a full range of darts.
Yes.
So yeah, I just want to be able to turn what I love into a functioning business.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The thing was, starting YouTube when I didn't treat it like it was a business. I treated it like it was just like pocket money. If I earned like a few £100 in a month.
Yeah.
I never like put it back into anything, but now I'm sort of like looking at it completely differently. Now that I've gone full time as well, I've kind of not really got an option, but but to do so. So yeah, it's quite fun. I learn so much every day.
Yeah.
And hopefully it will just be like it will just like run itself and everything will be nice and easy.
Yeah. I mean, before we end, I do want to touch on you throwing left-handed. I know you spoke about it quite a lot, but then I also see you also get comments about it basically every day, still asking. So run us through quickly why you actually did go left-handed. And obviously, I think it's really apparent that you've really picked it up now. You've really started to put in impressive displays and so on and so forth left-handed.
Yeah, so it all come from having dartitis. It's like a mental block that just stops you from being able to move your arm in the direction that you want to. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But it's something I got it first time I got it. I was about 12 years old, and I reckon I'm like the youngest person to ever have dartitis.
Yeah.
And then I sort of like I had my little ways of getting rid of it, whether it was throwing stones into throwing like rocks or something, or the one that worked the most was playing with the light off. But then if you if you go and play league darts, you can't do that anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bit pointless. But I always sort of like come up with a way of getting rid of it, and it would normally take like between 6 months and a year I could get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I reckon I got it about 5 times, but this time I kind of got rid of it to an extent, but there was just part of it that I couldn't get rid of.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where I was like, I'm either going to quit or I need to do something else. So I thought the only thing else to do is swap hands, which is like mental.
Yeah, what's that for you, like mentality-wise? Because, you know, I'm speaking for myself, I don't think I'd ever be able to play left-handed. So it must take a lot of grit and determination to actually fight through it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it shows that I do want to play darts to a reasonable standard. Because I think most people would just go, nah, that's me done. Can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah.
But I'd come in here for hours and just try and throw left-handed until I got to a point where like it was all right, and I'd do streams and stuff. So I'd have like people would be watching, but yeah, it's going quite well. It's going pretty well. I have days where I'm playing better than I have ever played right-handed.
Yeah.
I have days where I'm rubbish, but I think everyone goes through that regardless of what hand you throw with.
At what point does it start to feel, I guess, natural for you? Did you pinpoint it, or was one day you'd finish the session and almost realise, hang on a minute, this is starting to feel like when I was throwing my right hand in a positive way, of course?
I'd say probably about, I would honestly say it was probably about 2 weeks before the MODUS thing.
Yeah. So
probably about 3 months into going left-handed, it started to feel like it was the right hand. Like things that were weird things that I would do for the first 2 months was I'd put the wrong foot up against the Oche.
Oh,
or
really?
I'd lick the fingers of the wrong hand for like grip and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember, oh no, hold on, I'm not using that hand.
Yeah.
So it's just before like the MODUS stuff was when I started to feel like it was natural. And now like what 3 months on from that or so. Yeah, it's coming. I'm doing all right. I played the tournament that we're going to tonight. I played in it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I got through to the last 16.
Oh, really? Very
which
nice.
I never did. I never did that right-handed. And I threw some decent stuff on the way. So we'll see. I've got new darts this week, so hopefully they go all right. But yeah, it does feel natural now.
Yeah. I mean, to wrap it all up, it's been a great conversation. But to wrap it all up, if you could give yourself advice 5 years ago, what would it be? And then where do you want to be a year's time from today? So
I think there's 2 parts to that. Is what would you do YouTube wise and what would you do darts wise?
Yeah.
I think YouTube wise it would be like take it seriously straight away.
Yeah.
Like try your best to do what you want to do, because the reason I started the channel was because that's what I wanted to do. Looking back now, it's kind of like I look and I think like I don't really know what I was doing. Like there was decisions I was making. I'd have like a month off, and then I'd come back and make videos and stuff, and then like I'd just spend the money that I'd earned, even if it was like a few £100. I'd spend it on like something like a new pair of shoes where I could have upgraded the camera for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say just take it a bit more seriously, try and produce the best content that you can. And then on a dart side of things, I'd say I wish I started left-handed a lot earlier.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I would like to realistically go to Q school
Yeah.
and compete.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a tour card.
Yeah.
Like I've done Q school once before, right-handed. I'm umming and ahhing for content's sake going this year,
Yeah.
but I don't think I will, because I'd rather sit at home, do watch-alongs and watch Ash win a tour card. To be fair, this year,
Yeah.
and then next year I'll win one. And yeah, I'd love to have 100,000 subscribers this time next year. It was a goal to do it by the end of the year, and I was on track to do it and up until we had the baby. And now I'm a bit off the mark, but it's definitely doable within a year.
Well, there we have it. On Gnocchi with Jack Langston, the darts referee. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, mate.